The secret of the day. Dale Earnhardt's life came to an end. Dale Earnhardt, known as the Intimidator, was a NASCAR legend whose fearless, aggressive driving made him a formidable force on the track. But despite his dominance, a lifelong curse at the Daytona 500 ultimately led to his untimely death. Racing wasn't just a passion for Earnhardt, it was in his blood. Born on April 29, 1951 in North Carolina, he grew up surrounded by the sport. His father, a renowned short-track driver, set the stage for Earnhardt's racing future. By the age of 12, Dale was behind the wheel of his father's car, secretly testing his skills. And it wasn't just playtime, he nearly beat one of his father's fiercest competitors in a race. But Earnhardt's journey to NASCAR stardom would be anything but simple, with a few twists and turns along the way. Like any father, Ralph Earnhardt had his concerns about his son following in his footsteps. Racing was dangerous, and when Dale decided to drop out of high school to pursue it full-time, Ralph had no choice but to support his decision. Deep down, he knew that racing wasn't just a passion for Dale, it was a way of life. Dale had a need for speed that went beyond the track, and he lived life in the fast lane both on and off the racetrack. In 1968, at just 17 years old, Earnhardt married his first wife, Latane Brown. The couple quickly started a family, welcoming a son, Kerry, just a year later. But much like the fast-paced world of racing, their marriage hit the wall. What seemed like a whirlwind love story turned out to be more of a pit stop than a victory lap. By 1970, less than 2 years after tying the knot, the marriage was over, and they went their separate ways. Just a year after his split from Latane Brown, Earnhardt took another lap down the aisle, this time with Brenda G., the daughter of NASCAR car builder Robert G. In just 3 years, they had 2 children, daughter Kelly and son Dale Earnhardt Jr. But like his previous marriage, this one didn't last long. Despite Earnhardt's best efforts to keep his personal life under wraps, his racing career was quickly gaining speed. And it wasn't long before the public began to take notice of both his victories on the track and the turbulence off it. The Earnhardt family wasn't just known for racing together, they were also fierce rivals. In 1972, Dale found himself in a thrilling showdown with none other than his father, Ralph, at the Metrolina Motor Speedway in Charlotte. The race featured both V8 and smaller V6 cars, and Dale barely made the cut with his less powerful ride. This was the only time father and son would race head-to-head, but it's a race that still stands out in NASCAR history. Despite driving a smaller car, Dale pushed the limits, speeding around the track with the intensity of a man on a mission. As the laps went by, Ralph's experience caught up with him, and soon enough, he was right on Dale's tail. In a moment of respect, Dale moved aside, expecting his father to pass. But to his surprise, Ralph didn't take the opportunity. Instead, he stayed right behind him, challenging his son and pushing him to the edge. What happened next would stay with Dale Earnhardt for the rest of his life. Instead of passing, Ralph bumped into Dale's car from behind. At first, Dale thought his father was signaling to take the outside line and pass him. But when Ralph followed him toward the infield and bumped his car again, Dale realized this wasn't just a racing move. It was a lesson. Ralph wasn't trying to mess with his son for fun. He was teaching him an invaluable lesson in toughness and resolve. Ralph eventually passed Dale and won the race, but by then, the message was crystal clear. In racing, you don't move over for anyone, not even family. Ralph Earnhardt was a tough father and an even tougher racer. Sadly, just a year after their unforgettable race, Ralph passed away from a heart attack at just 45 years old. The lesson he gave Dale, however, would live on forever. Dale Earnhardt's sudden loss of his father left him reeling, and for years he felt the weight of proving himself to the man who had taught him everything. But when he joined Rod Osterland Racing in 1979, Dale quickly made a name for himself. He wasn't the only rookie with potential, but by the end of the season, he had already set himself apart with 1 win at Bristol, 4 poles, and 17 top 10 finishes. Even after missing 4 races due to a broken collarbone, he clinched Rookie of the Year honors, a testament to his resilience and talent. However, 1982 marked one of the toughest years of his career. While he scored a win at the infamous Darlington, known as the track too tough to tame, his aggressive driving style led to frequent crashes. He totaled 18 wrecks in 30 races, including a painful crash at Pocono Raceway that left him with a broken kneecap. Despite these setbacks, Dale's reputation as a fearless, sometimes reckless driver continued to grow. Please comment yes if you support him. By 1987, he had earned the nickname the Intimidator after a legendary moment during the Winston All-Star race. Defending his lead, Dale was forced into the infield grass but refused to back down. With a firm grip on the wheel, he expertly maneuvered his car back onto the track, all while holding onto his lead. NASCAR fans would forever remember this move as the pass in the grass. Ironically, Earnhardt didn't actually pass anyone during that maneuver, but it perfectly captured his dominance and fearlessness, propelling him into NASCAR legend. Earnhardt's aggressive, fearless driving earned him a loyal fan base, but it also created more than a few rivals. After the 1987 Winston, one enraged fan took things too far, sending a threatening letter to the NASCAR president about Earnhardt's life. The FBI took the threat seriously, providing Earnhardt with security at his next 3 races. Thankfully, nothing came of it, and the investigation was closed. But the episode highlighted just how polarizing Earnhardt had become, with his relentless drive to win sparking both admiration and animosity. His aggressive style on the track led to heated rivalries, fines, and controversies, but it also cemented his status as one of NASCAR's most iconic figures. The 1986 Daytona 500 seemed like Earnhardt's race to lose. In a thrilling 2-car duel with Jeff Bodine, Earnhardt was in a prime position to claim victory. But with only 3 laps remaining, a pit stop cost him precious time. And just as he re-entered the track, disaster struck. A blown piston ended his hopes, handing the victory to Bodine. This heartbreaking loss marked the beginning of what would come to be known as Earnhardt's Daytona 500 curse. The curse seemed to persist at the 1990 Daytona 500, when Earnhardt was in a commanding position with a 40-car lead. As the final caution flag flew, victory appeared within his grasp. With only a few laps remaining and Earnhardt still in front, disaster struck again. A piece of bell housing from a previous crash shredded his tire, sending him from first place to 5th. In 1991, Earnhardt entered the Daytona 500 with renewed hope, eager to break his curse. But fate had other plans. Early in the race, his car struck a seagull, causing not just a cracked windshield but also temperature issues with the engine. Despite the setback, Earnhardt found himself in a strong position late in the race. With just 6 laps to go, Ernie Irvan passed him. Earnhardt, determined as ever, pushed forward. But with just 2 laps remaining, his car spun out, once again leaving him just inches from victory, but no closer to conquering the Daytona 500. The 1992 season proved to be another challenging one for Dale Earnhardt, though he did manage to capture a crucial win at the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte. However, it remained a rough year, with Earnhardt finishing a career-low 12th in points and suffering 3 last-place finishes. The 1993 Daytona 500 added another frustrating chapter to his history at the iconic race. Leading with just 2 laps to go, victory once again slipped from his grasp as Dale Jarrett passed him on the final lap. It was the 4th time Earnhardt had been in the lead late in the Daytona 500, only to lose. The Daytona curse continued to torment him in 1996 and 1997, but Earnhardt's patience was starting to wear thin. In the 1997 Daytona 500, with just 12 laps to go, he was caught up in a massive multi-car crash. As medics tried to take him to safety, Earnhardt noticed his car was still in working condition. What happened next was nothing short of legendary. He leaped from the ambulance and drove his battered car to a 31st place finish, refusing to let the race end without giving it everything he had. But not all of his wrecks ended with him walking away unscathed. The 1996 Die Hard 500 at Talladega came dangerously close to being a career-ending crash. Running second in points and chasing his 8th season title, Earnhardt got caught in a massive wreck triggered by Ernie Irvan's loss of control, which set off a chain reaction with Sterling Marlin. The crash sent Earnhardt's number 3 Chevy slamming into the wall at nearly 200 miles per hour, leaving fans holding their breath, hoping for his survival. Due to rain delays, the live telecast of the race was canceled, and most NASCAR fans wouldn't learn about Dale Earnhardt's dramatic crash until hours later during the evening sports broadcasts. The wreck was so severe that it appeared fatal, leaving fans anxiously wondering if the worst had happened. The footage showed medical teams rushing toward Earnhardt's mangled car, and just as it seemed like he might not survive, the unthinkable happened. Earnhardt climbed out of the wreckage, waved to the crowd, and proved once again that he was no ordinary driver. Despite a broken collarbone, sternum, and shoulder blade, he refused immediate medical attention, showing just how tough he truly was. The crash, along with a similar accident that claimed the life of Russell Phillips at Charlotte, prompted NASCAR to take action. They introduced the Earnhardt Bar, a metal brace designed to reinforce the roof and windshield of race cars. This crucial safety innovation likely saved countless lives in the years that followed, but tragically, it couldn't save Earnhardt himself. Given his severe injuries, fans assumed Dale would sit out the rest of the season, but they underestimated his determination. Just a week later, he returned to the track at Indianapolis. However, after the first pit stop, he was forced to hand over the car to his teammate. The rest of 1997 was a tough year for Earnhardt, but his lowest point came during the Mountain Dew Southern 500 at Darlington. Early in the race, for reasons unknown, he blacked out and crashed into the wall. Disoriented, he struggled to find his pit stall and later revealed that he had been battling double vision. On February 15, 1998, after 2 decades of near misses and heartbreaks, Dale Earnhardt did the unthinkable. He finally broke his Daytona 500 curse in his 20th attempt. Crossing the finish line first, his long-awaited victory sparked one of the most iconic celebrations in NASCAR history. As he drove down pit road, crew members from every team lined up to shake his hand, a tribute usually reserved for only the sport's most revered figures. In a move that would be etched into NASCAR legend, Earnhardt spun his tires in the infield, leaving tire tracks in the grass that formed a giant number 3, a symbol of his unbreakable spirit. The 2000 season saw Earnhardt make a stunning resurgence, defying critics who thought his best years were behind him. After neck surgery to repair injuries from his 1996 Talladega crash, he was back in top form. Earnhardt edged out Bobby Labonte by just 0.01 seconds at Atlanta, and then made an unforgettable comeback at Talladega, clinching victory after charging 17 positions in the final 4 laps. It seemed like the Intimidator still had plenty of fight left in him, but his greatest challenge was yet to come. In the 2001 Daytona 500, Dale Earnhardt was at the peak of his career, having conquered his Daytona 500 curse. Tragically, it would be his last race. On the final lap, in the final turn, Earnhardt made light contact with Sterling Marlin, which sent him sliding off course. As his car veered out of control, he collided with Ken Schrader. The second impact sent him head-on into the retaining wall at nearly 160 miles per hour. The force of the crash was catastrophic, shearing off the right wheel assembly and causing the hood to slam against the windshield repeatedly. "I guess he's all right," said Dale Earnhardt Jr., who was racing in second place as he crossed the finish line. His father's wrecked car slid down the track and into the infield grass. As the race ended, there was no roar of victory, only an eerie silence as the weight of the crash sank in. Schrader, unscathed from the wreck, immediately ran to Earnhardt's car, but when he pulled down the window net, he was met with a grim sight. Frantically, Schrader called for paramedics, but deep down, he already knew the tragic truth. By the time Earnhardt arrived at the hospital, the medics confirmed the worst fears of fans and teammates alike. Dale Earnhardt had died in the crash. The official cause of death was a skull fracture caused by blunt force trauma. As NASCAR officials launched their investigation into the accident, they made a chilling discovery. They found that the left lap belt on Earnhardt's seatbelt harness had failed, leading them to suggest that this could have contributed to Earnhardt's chin striking the steering wheel, causing the fatal skull fracture. The revelation set off a wave of controversy and speculation. The manufacturer of the seatbelts received death threats, with some accusing Earnhardt and his team of installing the harness incorrectly to improve comfort. Even a sports writer attempted to obtain the autopsy records and photos. However, the final investigation concluded that the belt failure wasn't a significant factor in the crash. Dale Earnhardt left behind a NASCAR legacy that was unparalleled, not just because he won 76 races throughout his career, but because of the way he raced, relentless, fearless, and uncompromising. Though he could never truly escape the Daytona 500 curse, his son, Dale Earnhardt Jr., carried the torch and broke the family's curse. Jr. won the Daytona 500 twice in his career, carrying forward the Earnhardt family tradition. You don't move over for anybody, not even your own flesh and blood. If you respect him, please drop a flower emoji in the comment. What do you think of the lasting impact Earnhardt had on NASCAR? How do you think his legacy shaped the sport today? Let me know your thoughts on the Intimidator and the legacy that followed. Thank you for watching our channel. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. See you next time, and have a great day.